Hi, I'm Diane Neubauer, Du Yanzi. I'm a Mandarin Chinese language teacher, teacher educator, and researcher, and I've recently published a book with Cheng Tsui that I'm happy to tell you about in a few minutes today on video. In this video, I will be introducing the book, its contents, and then showing where you can purchase it, as well as the interface online. It is exclusively sold as an ebook, and there are reasons for that, which I will explain, and I'll show how you can access the book through the Fluency Link site that Cheng Tsui uses for all digital materials. So the book is called Comprehension-Based Chinese. It includes language teaching strategies that are comprehension-based to develop students' Chinese proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So it's looking at comprehensive proficiency development of your students' language ability, especially from a Mandarin Chinese point of view. I taught Mandarin Chinese for 10 years in K through 12 schools with kids as young as kindergarten and up through 12th grade, including a year where I taught AP Chinese. And since I left K through 12, I have gone back to school and gotten a PhD in foreign language and ESL education. And throughout these past 7 years, since that happened, I've been teaching online, both with children as young as 4th grade up through adults in small group classes and one-on-one tutoring and instruction. And so all of these different sources of my teaching experience, my learning from research and from other teachers, have all gotten folded into this book over time. So it's really been a multiple year process of developing it. The location to find the book is here in this QR code, which I'll leave on screen if you want to scan it. I'll also put the link into the information window below this in the YouTube location that I post. So the book has quite a number of different teaching strategies, as well as some information about reading and thinking about designing reading, especially with beginning learners of Mandarin Chinese in mind. And then addressing frequently asked questions that a lot of Chinese language teachers have regarding integration of culture and intercultural competence into instruction, how to build effective assessments, where to find teaching resources so that you're not creating all of your own materials. So let's jump to the website where you can find that purchase. So here it is on the Cheng Tsui website, so Comprehension-Based Chinese ebook. It is an ebook on purpose. It has a lot of links both to resources and especially to videos of different teachers, including myself, actually carrying out some of the teaching strategies shown in the book. So that can be very helpful, and that's one reason why I wanted it to be an ebook. So you can see there, you can add it to the cart, and then after purchase, you will get an email. You may need to look in junk mail. Don't forget that. They will send you a link to be able to get to the book in Fluency Link. And let me show you the library. I've got the book open already. But if we go to what you'll see when you first log in, it would look something like this on the dashboard. So Fluency Link, as you may guess from looking at it, is mainly for teachers to interact with their students around digital resources and assignments that way. And so to find this ebook, you'll look in Learning Content and in Library. And then there's the book that appears there. When you click it, it will open the book. And the first time you open, it will start at the cover. But after you've opened it and started to read, it will put you back at the same page you closed the book on. So we'll take a look at the table of contents a bit and head in from there. Oh, yeah, and I'm clicking ahead through the pages, but I don't have to because there is this helpful contents section. Let's do that. So in the table of contents, you can also see the acknowledgements page there. And if you're thinking, ooh, that's a little bit small, there's a couple things you can do. You can make it full screen, and then you can also zoom in and move your cursor around to be able to really zoom in close. There are a number of infographics and images in the book, and so getting up close may be very helpful. And I want to say in my acknowledgements, again, that I have learned from so many different teachers, from research that I have read, and I have tried to acknowledge those people throughout the book when I have written about ideas I've adapted from others. In the table of contents, you can see there's an introductory section kind of about how to frame comprehension-based teaching. What are its goals? Why is it doing that? What about students' output, which is a really frequently asked question. Students speak a lot in my comprehension-based classes, but we do it based on their encounters with language in context, and they develop the proficiency level appropriate ability to output more and more as they develop their speaking skills and reading and writing skills. So I also have a section here that I find important on classroom expectations. I've sought help in making sure that that's from an equity lens and is going to be culturally responsive rather than taking my own perspective alone. So in step 1, there are strategies, just a few, for establishing meaning. This is when we're thinking about maybe just a brief period of class time to introduce new words and phrases in a close context, helping students associate the sound of those new words with what they mean. And then after briefly establishing meaning strategies, you can choose from the massive auditory input strategies. And those are going to put that new language into context and help students again and again encounter those words and make connections to what those mean. And then, so just to show how many there are there, going on to the next page. There are a number of different strategies illustrated from examples in my own classroom teaching, as well as teaching online. And then there's a section on reading and perspective on reading steps, how to know if your students are ready for reading, and referencing Terry Walt's PhD's work on cold character reading, which I have adapted and used myself. And so I write about how to find or create reading materials that are appropriate for that. It's an approach to reading that can help students avoid the heavy memorization that has been typical in Chinese, but it also connects their sound to meaning, and now you're just placing a visual cue, the characters, onto that sense of language that they've developed in their mind. So it's has some explanation there, and then there is explanation of reading strategies. First, reading strategies that are going to be helpful with the whole class, scaffolding and building their reading first as a group with a lot of teacher support and student activity. And then moving into semi-independent reading where students are in groups or pairs or individually and doing something additional with a similar text to what they read as a whole class. The FAQ section has a lot about planning and sequencing lessons, assessment, finding other resources and materials for Chinese teaching, and talking with stakeholders about your instructional approach, dealing with classroom management kinds of issues and differences of age of students. And so there's a number of notes there. Before I sign off on this, I'd like to jump to an infographic that was designed by my friend Nan Ta for this book. And let me get my video out of the way. So this kind of lays out the whole book. The thinking through 4 steps of instruction and having different options like a menu or a recipe book. If you're a fan of America's Test Kitchen, like I am, they make great cookbooks, and they often give explanation of how you would choose this or that approach and why. And I've sought to do that in the strategies that I explain so that you can fit your instructional approach and strategies to your needs of your students, their proficiency level, and your own personality and preferences as you're making decisions in your classroom. So I'm delighted that you are interested in the book, and thank you for your interest.